No, he was arrested on Sunday. He was arrested the day after the fight when he was on his way back to the US. But yeah, let's move on to that. So I saw the news broke today. I saw it on social media and then I read the article in the Daily Mail just in time for me to ask Frank Warren and other people in Warren's office about it. And apparently, yeah, Bomac was detained and arrested at Manchester Airport, trying to get back to the US after the Eubank fight on Sunday, having been found to have a gun, a loaded gun, reportedly, with ammunition as well, like separate ammunition, in his case at the airport, which obviously raises so many questions, not least of which, how did he get in to the UK with it if he brought it with him? Did he, or did he get it while he was in the UK? Which raises a whole other set of questions. Latest I've heard is that he has been remanded in custody till a court date in October. Whether he stays in custody until then is open to doubt because we don't know what's going to happen between now and then. Axel Schultz, I said this earlier because I saw your comment earlier, Axel, but I'll read it out just so everyone can hear it because I thought it was one of the funnier takes. Can you confirm rumours that the gun was concealed in a McDonald's bag? It's not big or clever to insult someone because of their weight, but that was quite funny. Ayman, what was your first reaction when you saw the news about Bomac?
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, I do have a background in legal, although criminal isn't really my area of expertise or favour either. I wasn't really into criminal law. But when I first read the news, it was actually another reporter messaged me saying, have you read the news about Bomac? And first of all, my heart dropped and I thought, oh shit, has something happened to him in terms of medically? Has he gone into hospital for something? You never know what's going on these days with people. So that was my first initial thought. And then I kind of woke up.
Because of his weight, Ayman?
For a multitude of reasons. So that's a wrestling fan here. I'll put it out there. And we had Bray Wyatt, who was also a heavy guy who unfortunately passed away too. So you never know with people in general and with heavier people too. So that was my first initial thought.
Anderson Silva just said maybe Bomac is an international gun runner for the Crips. And I've got to be honest, when I first saw it, I didn't read it properly. And I thought it said an international runner for crisps, which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, sorry, back to you. Back to more serious tone.
Yeah, more serious tone indeed. Yeah, then I read the news and saw that it was for possession or allegedly possession anyway at the airport. He was stopped and there was a weapon in what's believed to be his suitcase. It's a serious issue here, of course. Like in the UK, obviously the laws are completely different in America as to the UK. And in America, you can carry a weapon under certain circumstances, and over in the UK, we're categorically against them. And now, from my understanding of what's been reported out there, there are very scarce details around this, and we'll get the details as soon as they kind of drip fed through. But I believe it falls under Section 5(1) ABA of the Firearms Act. So, and those offences under that category carry a mandatory minimum sentence. So, essentially, here with the details that we have, and with what I've briefly looked under, Bomac might be looking at a 5-year minimum sentence here. Now, that, as the details kind of come out, and if we get more, some things are represented a bit differently. The case can be argued where maybe under certain circumstances, you can have smaller kind of punishments handed out, which include the likes of community sentences and fines and things like that. But a real kind of a thing to look out for really is to whether he's granted bail or not, or whether that's argued. Because that will kind of tell you the seriousness of the case and how, one, the defense team are looking at it, and then also how the prosecuting team are looking at it. So if he's being granted bail or not is a real big indicator of how the case might go, at least how they're looking at it. So yeah, a real developing situation where it can really affect Bomac's career right now. He's currently under custody, so he's not on bail, so he can't work. And if he's kept in custody, he can't work, he can't train with his fighters, potentially not be allowed back in the country as well too. I believe this isn't 100% for certain here, but I believe he does have, and I'll double check and check this out. So I apologize in advance if it's not true, but I believe it's been said out there that he does have criminal convictions back over in the US as well too. So It's a very, very real, serious and developing situation for Bomac, who, will have to plead his case in I believe in about 5 weeks' time in October. So we'll keep an eye on that and keep you abreast of the information, but a serious one for that team.
So I was just kind of like chuckling at some of the comments, and also Bomac goes out firing, which was my headline for this section, and realised that as I'm laughing on camera, Ayman was talking about mandatory sentences and so on. So that just should make it clear that I'm not laughing about the possibility of Bomac going inside for a long time. Although if he deserves it, that's a different matter. I still wouldn't laugh about it though. Big Dog says Bomac told Liam not to punch or he's getting shot. I mean, it would explain a lot about his performance on Saturday night, I suppose. Anderson De Silva, I've got a stutter all of a sudden. Anderson De Silva says this is seriously bad news for boxing in general, not good at all. Axel Schultz says, are you allowed to have gun in hand luggage on any plane? I mean, maybe if you're, I don't know, an air marshal, perhaps, but otherwise, no, I don't think so. Certainly not B.A. Baracus. You don't get on no plane anyway. Dell says, what about Nick Ball? It's kind of off topic, Dell. But I didn't ask Frank about him today. I will do next time I speak to him. I usually do. Anderson De Silva says, hope Bomac don't make a deal and blame Eubank. Snitches get stitches. I don't think he's going to shop Eubank to the feds, funnily enough. Kevin Worrell says, a gun with bullets, a lot more serious. Indeed. Dell says, I'm sure they'll say, oh, there was no fingerprints on the gun. It wasn't his. It was one of his mates. He goes free and a yes man gets a wad of cash to do time. I think someone's been watching too much Top Boy, but you never know. New series starts next week, I think, actually. The final series. Just thought I'd bring that up. Dudley O'Shaughnessy, former really good amateur boxer, is in it as well. The SUF says, wouldn't they just deport him for good? I mean, I think Ayman's probably more in tune with what the possible punishments are than anything else. Massive Coconut says, we need more Danny content, underrated AF in the boxing scene. Thanks, Massive Coconut.
You paid this guy.
He said something really nice early. He called me like a big hunk of sex appeal or something like that.
Yeah, you paid this guy.
I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, I am him. It's my alt account. Just typing. Massive Coconut. No, it's probably, do you know who it might be? It might be Keith Fraser. Because his like Twitter handle is Big Cojones or something like that. So it might be him. If it is you, Keith, I really appreciate it, but I still haven't started your book yet, so I apologise. Not like me to pass up a freebie, but I'll have to get around to it. But yeah, big issues for Bomac at the moment, and not the sort of headline I expected to read on a Sunday following a career best performance, a lot of which was attributed to Bomac by a lot of commentators. That's kind of what I want to ask Ayman as well, while we're talking about Bomac. How much of Eubank's improved performance in the second Smith fight do you put down to him spending that 4 weeks with Bomac, and also Bomac's presence in the corner, keeping him on message and on tactics?
Yeah, so first of all, just on the point regarding Bomac as well, I'd just like to add, I think on the lighter side of things, Bomac can kind of maybe hope for a suspended sentence and obviously avoid prison at all. From my knowledge, doesn't have a criminal record in the UK, and court don't really like putting people in prison who don't have a criminal record in the UK. So, and there's not this situation that, although it's very serious, there's no actual violence involved. It's just a case of a firearm being found in possession at the court. So if he maybe argues on honest mistake and such, then maybe he gets found on the lighter side of any sentencing. But let's put that aside. And again, that's in lieu of the details out there, so we don't know the full details of the situation. But